Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PDPMO. I once again am your host, Richard, and today I'm going to be discussing the movie Midnight Sky, starring George Clooney. Um, Again, for people who are new to the channel, I'll be doing a quick review over whether or not I liked the movie, what I liked, what I didn't like, without giving away any spoilers. And then I will make the announcement that those people who don't want spoilers can leave. Thank you for stopping by. And then I'll go into a more in-depth review of the film and what I thought. So again, as I always do, thank you to everyone for the love and support. Keep it coming, but let's just dive straight into Midnight Sky. As always, I went in without much knowledge about it. I just knew it was one of those end of the world type stories, which I am a huge fan of. Midnight Sky, did the movie piss me off? No. Almost. This movie was good, not great, and I'll obviously get into that a little bit more in depth. It was directed by George Clooney, which I did not know until the credits rolled at the end. There were some things I liked about it. There were some things I didn't like about it. One thing in specific, which I will get to. But the movie was pretty good. I liked the story. We're talking about something happening on Earth that is causing Earth to be unlivable. And George Clooney plays a scientist who is in like this observatory. It's one of the last places on Earth that appears to be habitable. And yeah, so again, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, so I will leave it at that right now. But yeah, the movie was good, not great. I'm going to start now with some spoilers. So even when I do spoilers, I don't want to give everything away because I don't believe in that. So even if you watch these, you can still be surprised by something. So I'm not going to go into every detailed spoiler in this movie because there are some things that, I mean, in all movies, there are some things that I think you need to experience when you watch it. I don't want to be the guy that ruins that for anyone. So for those of you who are looking for a quick review, Midnight Sky, good, not great. Almost great. I will say it was almost great, but the specific problems I have, whether they be personal or in general, stop this movie from being great. Okay, so now we're going to get into the spoilers. For those of you leaving, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate any moment you get to spend with me, or I get to spend with you. Okay, so now we're going to get into the spoilers. So in this movie, we meet George Clooney, who is an aging, and it's weird to see an older George Clooney with like a big beard and stuff like that. I mean, he still looks good, but it's just, when I think of George Clooney, I think like with that, casual smirk he had in Ocean's 11, but now he's just getting older, as we all are, and gray in the beard. But yeah, so he's this a scientist who was one of the lead researchers in finding habitable planets because something was coming for Earth. The one thing I really liked in this movie is they didn't really identify what happened on Earth. Now, I know a lot of people will be upset by this. I personally love it because they show that all these hot spots are, popping up all over the planet, and, there's radiation, and he's up near the North Pole, which is why his observatory is one of the few places still running. It's obviously climate related, but because they didn't go into it, they didn't politicize it, which I really appreciated because as soon as you make it climate related, half the population is going to be like, climate change isn't real. And then half, yes, it is. And now the story is not about the movie anymore. So I liked that they didn't go into it. I also liked that because they didn't identify exactly what it was, you're not going to have people say, well, that's not how it would really unfold in this and this and this, because anytime something like this comes up, a lot of movie fans instantly become climatologists. And it's like, well, according to what I read online, and then that starts a whole a whole nother conversation. This is about movies, not about politics. So it was just like 3 weeks since the event. I really like that that's how they just covered it. Like, just, you don't need to know what happened or why, just that it happened. So now we got a movie. I loved that he did that. Okay, so in the movie, there was a brief scene where this girl's looking for her daughter. Obviously, that's going to come into play. Somebody says, like, she got on one of the earlier flights out because people are fleeing the area. So George Clooney has a list on this computer. This is set in the not too distant future, and he has a list on a computer of all these missions that are offline or they've lost contact, or except one called Aether. And Aether turns out to be a long distance space voyage to an undiscovered planet on around Jupiter, which could support human life. So there's a 5-person crew on that ship who have made it to the planet and are now returning. This is where we get into something that's personal. One of the actors playing like the science officer, her name's Felicity Jones. Now, a lot of you out there know who Felicity Jones is. For those who don't, feel free to Google her or go on IMDb. But Felicity Jones is in this movie. I do not like Felicity Jones. Not as a person, but as an actor. There's just something, I can't even put my finger on it. There's something about her acting that I just don't like. So it's unfortunate, because I didn't even know she was in this movie. But when she came up on screen, I was like, oh, neat. And, maybe that's a bias on my part. The first, I haven't even seen that many Felicity Jones performances. The first one that really comes to mind is Star Wars Rogue One. And she played the lead, Jyn Erso. I didn't like her performance in that either, but I also didn't like the character. When I get to the Rogue One review, you'll hear why. But I didn't like her portrayal. I didn't like the character. So I thought, like, I didn't know if it was I didn't like the actress or I didn't like the character. But then I watched her in Inferno, which is the Dan Brown book with Tom Hanks in his third go-around as Robert Langdon. She played a character in there, and I liked the character, still hated her performance. So that led me to believe that, it's her and not the characterization. So when this movie came around, I'm like, okay, third time's a charm. Again, I liked the character. I did not like her performance. I don't know what it is. I just don't find her believable as an actress. And Felicity Jones, if you are out there and you happen to see this, I'm sorry. I don't even know what it is. And again, this is just one person's opinion. But yeah, it's just, I find that if you put most other actresses in her role, you'll get a stronger performance, which makes the character a little bit more intriguing. I just find her very flat, for lack of a better word. A lot of people have the same feeling towards, say, a Kristen Stewart. I put Felicity Jones right there. Like, there's just something there. The rest of the performances were great. I love Kyle Chandler. He's just one of those guys that He's just in everything, and he's usually in the background, but he delivers pretty consistently. So anyway, enough about the acting. For the most part, great. Felicity Jones, again, it's a personal thing. Don't get it. So Clooney ends up finding this young girl who's hiding out in the station with him. He tries to contact one of the ships to come back for one of the departing ships to come back. He can't reach anybody. So he's having trouble reaching Aether. So he decides that in order to reach them, he needs a stronger transmitter. So he and the young girl bundle up and head out on the I was supposed to say jet ski, on the skidoo, to head over to the new this bigger facility. Obviously, I mean, it's not a smooth trip. I mean, you're in the middle of the Arctic during a a global cataclysm. Things aren't going to go well. But Aether's coming back. Obviously, they don't have a smooth ride. Again, I'm not going to get into like huge spoilers of what happens in the movie, because I think for to truly enjoy a movie, you need to go in without knowing everything. Otherwise, what's really the point? Um, I I I liked this movie. I did. A lot of it was slow with some intense sequences that happen. But for me, I imagine that's what deep space would be like. It would be mostly slow. And then when things go wrong, just really intense scenes. So, I mean, as that part, the aesthetic of the movie was right in line with both what George Clooney is going through and what the crew of the Aether coming back to Earth are going through. So I applaud that. It makes you feel like you're a part of it. My biggest complaint is it's one of the, this movie would have been great visually in the theater because a lot of stuff that happens in space just would have been really cool to see on the big screen. Um, However, had I paid, because I watched it's a Netflix movie, so I just watched it at home on Netflix. If I had paid to go to this movie, I don't know if I felt I would have had my money's worth because of the amount of because of the tempo of the movie. It can feel a little drawn out. I felt the same way about Brad Pitt in Ad Astra. I mean, it's a really good movie, but I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters because at the end of it, I would have been like, I didn't know if that was worth it, and that's not a good taste. Um, at the end of the movie, if you're feeling that you don't know if it was worth you spending the money slash time, that's not a good feeling to have, and it'll color your taste on the movie and your review for that matter. But watching it here at home, it was good. Um, Again, the performance is great, visually just stunning. A couple of twists here and there, some more obvious than others, but it's one of those uh, great on a small screen, but not visually striking. Would have been visually great on a big screen, but there's not enough content to really hold my attention, and a lot of that has to do with the trends in movies today because nowadays you can't release like a really good this great movie in theaters and have it make millions and millions and millions of dollars because people want to go see the big spectacles. They want to go see the Marvels and the DCs, and everything's a superhero movie now. Movies like this can't compete with that. So, I mean, that's why I'm thankful for streaming services like Netflix or Amazon Prime or even Crave for allowing these releases to still have an audience. So there's an option rather than going out for the big epic. I mean, you look at what I consider the greatest movie ever made, and that is Shawshank Redemption. That movie came out in 1994, I believe. I'll say 94. It was either 94 or 97. I'm getting the dates mixed up. But that movie, box office flop, right? Because nobody wanted to see it because you'd rather go see whatever. Like I think Speed was still in theaters, so that's the movie you're gonna go take. No offense to Speed, I love Speed, but I would be hard pressed to not laugh in your face if you say Speed was a better movie than Shawshank Redemption. Did you like it better? Sure. I mean, I can watch Speed over and over and over again. Shawshank is not one of those movies that I feel the need to consistently rewatch, but I've probably seen Shawshank about 6 or 7 times, and it just keeps getting better. Um, but you take a movie like Midnight Sky, uh, it would just get swallowed up and nobody would go see it. It would be considered a failure. And, production studios don't want to, touch that kind of thing. So I am grateful for streaming services for that, even though they do, in my opinion, negatively impact uh, uh, movies, like the theater experience in certain ways. There's definitely some positives. So yeah, Midnight Sky was close to being great. Again, I don't know if it's just Felicity Jones. Some of there's a couple of sequences where they show like a younger George Clooney, but they have a different actor. But they use George Clooney's voice, which is very bizarre because I mean you hear this guy, and I mean the timing of it is bang on. But this guy is talking, and it's clearly George Clooney, but it doesn't look like George Clooney. It's like you're in a weird dream. But yeah, that was kind of neat, and the way they tied it all together at the end, kind of like Interstellar did, just without the mind f. But yeah, I liked Midnight Sky. I don't think I would watch it again. Um, it's definitely not one of those movies that you feel the need to rewatch. Felt the same way about Ad Astra. If I ever get around to reviewing that one, you're going to see a lot of parallels. The one thing I will say about Ad Astra, which is better than Midnight Sky, is Felicity Jones wasn't in it. I'm sorry, Felicity Jones. I don't know why I don't like you. So yeah, if you have a chance, if you like download it to your device or get a chance to watch it at home, it was a good movie. It's not a game changer, but by the end of it, I mean, like the slogan says, it didn't piss me off. Um, so yeah, hope this helped. Um, I got to touch on my dislike of Felicity Jones for the first time. Won't be the last time. So thank you for stopping by. Feel free to like and share these videos so we can keep the conversation going. Thank you again for all the support. Keep the comments coming. Click subscribe if you feel so inclined. I will promise to do a little better on my content. I mean, it is Christmas time, and I've been running around doing a lot, so I'm trying to get more of these videos out. Um, so my apologies for not hitting that a little bit harder, but I'm going to do a couple of more before the end of the year. Hopefully, like 3 or 4 more, including the Marvel versus DC one that's coming up soon. And then, yeah, in the new year, I'm hoping to hit this a lot harder. So, thank you for your patience. I'm looking forward to keeping the movie conversation going, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.